So far, I've created a regular encrypted file that contains an outer partition that can be mounted, and within there a hidden partition. Although that does fairly well at actually hiding some of what's being done here, um, it's actually moderately easy to notice these. So if we go on over to the virtual machine and we simply look at the file manager here, we will see under documents, there we've got the VeraCrypt volume there with the .hc extension. It's a moderately large file, and we'll even use larger icons there. And there we go, it's 100 megabytes, and it's sitting there, pretty good icon that really shows what's there. Now, the VeraCrypt documentation actually mentions that you can actually change these extensions to pretty much anything you want. So for instance, well, 100 megabyte video, that makes sense. And I'll just go ahead and change it. That says it's a video file. But actually, in some ways, no, it's pretty easy to notice that really this is not a video. For one, it uses a canned icon here. If I double click on this thing, because it's really not a video, it's going to have a little bit of a problem playing it, and it can't play it. This is somewhat to be expected. Let's contrast that with the way videos normally work, on this Windows machine at least. Here are two time-lapse videos from the U.S. Air Force Museum in Dayton, Ohio, that I took a while back. We can see the first frame of each of the videos shows up there. This one here's 301. It says megabytes. Actually, this MB there should be MIB. That 301 is hex megabytes. We can actually see the real size of that file exactly. Coming down here under properties. And here we say it's 301. That should be MIB. And then this is the actual value in decimal. It's 300 and slightly over 315 decimal bytes, million decimal bytes. That 315 is going to be important. What I'm going to demonstrate here is a technique of actually appending the VeraCrypt volume to the end of this video. Now, it would be a little challenging for me to go around and remember this exact byte offset. So I'll round the 315 up to 320. And I'm going to use some sigwen commands, some standard Unix commands to actually append that the VeraCrypt volume to the end of this video. So let's jump on over to sigwen. Get ready. Okay. So jump on over to documents. And there's the volume down in the end. It still has the .mp4 extension, so I'm going to move that back to standard extension. And just so I can demonstrate that I'm able to get rid of this and then get it back, I'm going to generate a real quick checksum on this thing. And here we've got the checksum. It starts with 44, able 8, AA 769. We've got some more characters and ends with 6C5. Okay, so there that is. So to get started with this, standard Unix command for kind of moving data around is a command called dd. We tell dd where the input file is, the input data, and that's going to be our VeraCrypt volume. Okay. Then we want to tell it where we're going to send it to, and I would want to be very careful that I do not hit enter right here, because that would actually take that input file, write it right over top of the beginning of that video, which would kind of destroy it. So I actually need to get it put at a very specific location. So I'm going to work in 1 megabyte blocks. And I'm going to tell it, before you start writing this on the output file, I want you to seek in the output 320 blocks. So it'll have a seek location of 320 megabytes. So come along and we let that run very quick. And now if we come back to File Manager, we go back to videos, we look at our initial video there, it regenerated the first one there. We look at properties. He has grown a little bit. He's now 405 megabytes or so, 424 decimal, grown there. The thing is, though, it really did not bother him. This will not work in all file formats, but it really did not bother this video file format at all. This thing's playing. You can still seek into it wherever you want to go, and it really has no troubles there. Okay. So at this point, I can actually take and remove the VeraCrypt volume. Okay, so it's now gone. If we look at the documents here, it's no longer present and fairly well hidden at the end of that video. Now, we do need to be able to easily get it back, and that's actually done by just using the dd command, but kind of in the opposite direction. So in this case, I take dd, and the input file is going to be, oops, sorry, .mp4. The output file is going to be right back to where I want it to be. Okay. Work in block sizes of 1,000,000 decimal bytes each. But instead of seeking on the output file, I'm going to skip on the input file. And I have to put in the same skip location that I remember for this video. I put it at 320 megabytes. So I do that. And if I regenerate the sum for the volume, we're back to having the same exact MD5 checksum that we had before, all back there. And if I want to, I can now demonstrate him by coming back in here to VeraCrypt. Oops, how did he come up? Sorry. Okay, that thing's there. Tell him to mount it. It's to display the password, and I'm going to give the password this time for the hidden volume. Unfortunately, these hidden volumes always take a little while to mount, a little bit longer than the outer one time. But it very soon will get mounted here as drive letter H. And there we go. And we take, and we've got our VeraCrypt volume back, this PC, drive H. There's the not a secret folder, and there's the not a secret file.